This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to Formula Virtual Racing. We are back. It is Saturday evening. It is 5 minutes past 8 GMT, and we have an absolute corker, as per usual, coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen, here live from Albert Park. We return to the place that's not named after Senor Kyle Albert, a legend here, but he is here this evening. He's here, and he wants to win his home. Well, it's not really his home, but it's named after him. Grand Prix. Going to be a good one. We have the top two in the championship not here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Legend is unfortunately not feeling well, has picked up the COVID-19 virus. Legend, we wish you well. And Tyler is out on the works Christmas night out. So we are going to have a brilliant race here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. And here to cast it with me, of course, it is Brendan and Kyle returning for this week as well. So Brendan, how are you keeping?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. I'll have to say, with no legend and presumably ill-functioning Tyler, Avesto Gambadi, this is the opportunity for him to really stake a claim in this championship. He did win last week, beating out Legend, but in this case, where there is no Legend, you have an opportunity to gain 22, if not 23 points on Legend. At pretty much no cost, so yeah, he's got to make the most of this opportunity. But there will be a few others looking to maybe stake their own claim. Certain Lewis McWilliam being probably the number one opponent to him.
Yes, it's going to be a real challenge for Avesta here this evening with Lewis returning. But to help us with all the challenges on the grid, we have the return of a new fan favourite. Mr. Kyle Davis is joining for this evening. Kyle, how are you keeping?
Hello. Well, I'm doing very well. I'm excited for another race. Of course, I'm gonna immediately join Brendan on the statement here. With Legend not returning, returning but not here. Currently, it's gonna be an interesting race. I've also noticed that the Ferraris have some new people in the car. Lewis 2307, so maybe some luck for the Ferrari.
That's Lewis McWilliam, pal. You do know that, don't you?
Oh, that's even... Oh, would you look at that? Then the Ferraris are definitely going to enjoy their day today. Maybe a better result than the past three races.
Yeah, Lewis likes to change his PSN a lot. Thank you very much, Kyle. Kyle is going to be coming in and out with us this evening as we take you through the action. But the first lap is on the board. It's 1:18.3 for Andrew Davis, who's returning in a reserve role for this evening. John Jurgens-Meyer then goes a second adrift behind. We haven't been to Albert Park here in a while. The last time we were, it was Lewis McWilliam who won this Grand Prix. It was Aaron McFall who led through the final corner, but then we all know what happened there. But a previous two-time winner here in Albert Park, he very much likes the circuit. Jack Redmond won 16.9 for the young Irishman. This is, he's been on the up for the last few weeks. This is a big chance for him. McWilliam then goes quickest. Ferrari, of course, bottom of the constructors' standings. They have not had a steady time. Let's put it that way, here in Formula Virtual Racing Season 11, only 2 points on the board and 15 adrift of Alfa Romeo in ninth, so a lot of work to do there for them. Davies then goes to third, 4/10 of a second off Jack Redmond in second, as always teammate unfortunately Adrian Tishy having a bit of a tip round. I'm wearing a McLaren hoodie, so I sincerely hope I've not jinxed Adrian and Luke. But I don't think you can jinx Luke, and I think that's something we found over the last few seasons. Here comes Morris Stumer heading for the final couple of corners. Of course, he was a bit of a fidget spinner last time out in Montreal and in Bahrain, and he's going to hope to not necessarily take as many rotations round here today. Wang Fei Anderson heading in towards turn number 13. This is the Prost hairpin. Alain Prost, a driver that Brendan very much likes, and I'm sure Brendan... Actually, you know what, Brendan? Here's a bit of a question for you. If you had to compare one FVR driver to Alain Prost, who would you pick? Horrible question, because they're all terrible. But...
Well, that's what, in terms of temperament, I would say Kyle Albert. But, and if I'm going to just pick an opposite to, in this case, it would be a Vesticobadi. Or, I would nearly say, when calm, it is Lewis McWilliam. Or, because he is, when he's focused, it is very much Prost, like, gets the job done. But yeah, I would say if you fuse Lewis's speed with Kyle's temperament, yeah, that's where you get your Prost.
Kyle Albert, who is currently on the full wet tyres, may I add. He's already been on the inters here once today, seemingly. I saw Neil Tartle in the Discord saying, why is Kyle on the inters? He's on the inters because he can, and that's simply enough about Kyle Albert. Here comes Enzo King to the line.
Circuit owner privilege, anyone?
What did you say, sorry, Brendan?
Circuit owner privilege, anyone?
Yeah, he can do what he wants. I wonder if it would be on a moped like Sebastian Vettel was in 2022 when we came here. It's a newly refurbished circuit, of course, here in Albert Park. It was upgraded, and we had a couple of the corners reduced. Of course, we now have just the Clark curve here on Lakeside Drive. Used to be a chicane, it's now just a straight. Does it provide more overtaking? I'm not entirely sure, but certainly it gives us a lot quicker speeds in towards turn number 9 and 10. And then you're down through here. Borbune we're on board with now, of course. Down towards the Ascari right-hander. This is turn number 11. The camber, this has changed. It's now a 90-degree corner. It was sort of a fast sweep to the right. I was playing one of the old F1 games, not recently, about 6 months ago or something. That corner, you didn't actually realise how quick it was until you look at the new one. But then you're into the familiar Prost and then the final corner on Canterbury Road down towards the turn number 1 of Brabham and Jones chicane. Borbune, 3/10 improvement, goes to 6th position. Luke Davies is just trundling in towards the pit lane, not necessarily on a push lap, as Thomas Main is going to make himself into the session here. Of course, was just joining mid-quali. Thomas, his football team he played for won the championship last weekend. Thomas Main wins a championship, who would have thought? But he's here and looking to repeat that success this week. We are getting onto the second laps of the session here as we look at Adrian Tushy go purple in the first sector, 27.5. Not sure if that's legitimate or not, but certainly he's found a 1.8 seconds. Kyle, of course, we're in Australia, and it can get warm around these parts. On the outlap, do you have to do a lot of tyre warming, or is it just maybe about keeping the tyres to less wear as Adrian goes skating across the chicane?
Well, you do have to do tire warming, of course, but not as much as you usually do. These tracks around here, of course, depending on the weather, because Australia can be as hot as it can be, but it can also be very wet. We've seen multiple rain races here too, so yes, you do need to warm up your tires, but you don't need to warm them up as much as you do. Right now, the sun's looking quite bright, so I don't think they will be warming up their tires as much. Fun fact also, I've just noticed about that Jack Redmond holds the records here. 4 races done here in this venue, and 2 of them were won by him. Maybe it's a sort of thing to know before this race starts. Might just get the win on this.
Yeah, Jack Redmond is a really, really quick driver, and he won here in the dry and in the wet, so he is certainly diverse in terms of his Albert Park skills. But McWilliam, big middle sector improves. Jack Redmond has just come across the checker, unfortunately was not able to improve on that time, but here comes the Scotsman heading in towards the right-hander of Ascari. Now, the only thing for Lewis McWilliam is he's very quick over one lap. All-time record pole sitter here, not in Albert Park, in Formula Virtual Racing. So we know he can do a quick qualifying lap, but in terms of race trim, he's not really done it for quite some time in FVR. He missed the opening 3 rounds of the season just with other commitments. So I think that's going to be the real test for Lewis here. But 1:16.7, he goes quickest and is now on pole by 0.2 of a second. We still haven't seen a competitive lap from Avesta Gobadi yet. We haven't seen one from this man, Kyle Albert, either, as he's now on a set of these slick, soft, compounded tyres and has pulled over to the left-hand side, heading in towards turn number 3, where we saw Fernando Alonso have his scary accident once upon a time. Another man who's performing quite well so far here in qualifying is Wong Fee Anderson. 5th spot here for Wong Fee, performing very well. The Swede is just on his 2nd lap of the session, and I gotta say, and I think you'll agree, Brendan, when the top dogs like Legend and Tyler are missing maybe for a race, there's a real opportunity for some of the up-and-comers to maybe get some big points.
Yeah, indeed. Because all of a sudden now, the top maybe 2-3 places, which you're not really thinking about, all of a sudden they're open. And then sometimes you can... the drivers who you would say are next, such as, let's say, Vescomadi, you might get a little bit of cold feet all of a sudden being in the prime position. But I don't think that'll be something that's too much of a factor this week, because out with Legend Tyler, in comes Lewis McWilliam. So that is just, you're taking out 2 very good drivers, putting in 1 more very good driver. It does leave a little more room, but in that case, something Mr. Body knows Lewis McWilliam is someone he needs to beat, and just to try to take a full advantage, because otherwise he's not really going to be able to maximise the points. And then you also have like Thomas Main, who could show up here and make himself known, and he could be taking some valuable points away from some others down the field. And also like Sir Luke Davies, you have to know, remember, this is a title he has to defend. He is not trying to grab that first. This is, you have to find a little different kind of motivation to try keep what you have gotten and defend what you've gotten, rather than just trying to snatch it for the first time.
Yeah, that's a very good point you make, actually, in terms of the championship. Luke, of course, is now defending his championship. He's in a completely different situation than he's ever been. He's never defended a championship, of course, because, well, he's won his first in Formula Virtual Racing and in League Racing as a whole. He didn't defend his VRP championship because he didn't do it the next season. He also got beaten by me in the last race and obviously retired after that. But Thomas Main goes to 4th. Kyle Albert introduces himself and goes to 5th, just behind Thomas Main, ahead of Enzo King. But there is a massive schism between the top 3, which will be top 4 once Avesta sets a lap, I believe, if he can't set a lap, because he's invalidated another attempt. There's a huge gap between Jack Redmond and Thomas Main, and the only 2 drivers I think who can put themselves in that, actually 3, I'm going to say, is Thomas Main, Avesta Gobadi, and Leroy Van Schendel. I think Thomas can go a bit quicker than that. I don't think that's his best lap. But yeah, we're waiting to see a lap from Avesta Gobadi, from Julius Gassner, and from Leroy Van Schendel. They still have not set times yet in this session, and we can see Van Schendel 44.4 in the middle sector. It's good enough for purple, and we will wait and see. Leroy, of course, has a new wheel and has a new set of pedals, which he's not 100% used to just yet, but he's certainly way more acclimatised to them than he was this time last week, so hopefully we can see a little bit of the old Leroy returning. Leroy is aiming for a podium here this evening. Kyle, can Leroy maybe get that podium?
I mean, it's really hard to get in the podium, but we'll see right now what lap time he does. It's a 16, 17, 18, 17, 5. Yeah, no, that's far away. Notable difference between top 3 and the rest of the grid, basically. There's a 5/10 difference, so will be very hard for the guys from P4 and down under to get a good lap in, or even change their pace so much to challenge these in the top 3. Maybe Avesta Gobadi will do it, maybe not, because he's currently in the pit again. We'll see, but I think it's going to be very hard.
Yeah, I also need to do a little bit of investigative journalism and try find out what the conditions are going to be for the race, because as Kyle said a couple of minutes ago, it can certainly rain here, and that could have a huge bearing on how this race plays out. But we will wait and see. Enzo King currently on a lap now. Red Bull 6th and 7th here for now in terms of a championship perspective. Red Bull sits 7th with 20 points, so not good, but not necessarily bad. Middle of the road for Red Bull. Multi-time Constructors champions. Here comes Enzo King. He's going to jump up to 4th. He bridges that gap a little bit between the pack and Jack Redmond, but it is still quite a large gap there between the top 3 and the rest of the field. Vesta is on an outlap as well. Julius Gassner is also on a run. He did a 44.7, which is only 3/10 off Leroy, mind you. It's not the worst in the world. Certainly, he could beat Niels Harper and Adrian Tishy here, and they'd be about 2 drivers he'd be looking to beat here this evening. So across the line comes Julius Gassner. Where is he going to go? It's 13th for the young German.
I have checked the stream of Sir Luke Davies, and it seems like the weather should be dry. Anyways,
Okay.
as I think we have seen, Zauber is cutting some grass here. I suppose it would be apt for the Australian summer.
Well, let's see how the rest of this qualifying plays out, because Lewis McWilliam is on his, what I would like to think is his final lap of the session. It might not be. He might do one more after, and he's improving by even more. So Lewis has not lost his touch at all here in Formula Virtual Racing. He may have missed a few races, but certainly he is still cool as a cucumber. Enzo King out of the session, doesn't feel he can get anything more out of this than he already has, so he'll be pulling into the pit lane. The Ferrari skates across in towards the Prost left-hander, and then in towards the final corner. It's a 5.278 kilometre circuit here in Albert Park, so Lewis McWilliam is going to try and get the quickest lap around here. He absolutely can. And dare I say that's going to be pole decided. You take Legend out of Formula Virtual Racing, but you can't really take Legend ways out of Formula Virtual Racing. Lewis is once again proving his dominance. It's like a Season 9 race, this, between Lewis and Luke at the front, but I think Jack Redmond might be able to throw his hand into the fire potentially here as well. Avesta invalidates again. Not able to get up near the front, and Avesta is going to have to do a cool down here. He lets some lap traffic through, and he's going to have to just try get a lap on the board here, even if it's 2-3 seconds off the pace. Just get a lap on the board so he's not started at the foot of the field, which is a disappointing performance so far for Avesta Gobadi. Here comes Thomas Main, picking up a bit of a slipstream in front.
Yeah, it looks like Avesta's fully RS, so at least he can go for it fully here and not have to worry about or think that he has to try gain time in other places because the ERS is just going to cost him. You see so far, okay. You see braking here now, just hit your apex. And I suppose it's all or nothing really. That would be what's on his mind. He's try to take full advantage, but any lap will do at this point though. You'll just have to try and manage it here. This is a commonplace for invalidations, but he's done well, I have to say. I have to keep an eye on the others. McWilliam, 16.4 is that'll be a tough target to beat.
Redmond's done. Jack Redmond won't be getting another lap on the board. He's done, as Adrian Tishy's done as well. He invalidates his final time. Luke Davies just passed the slowing down Jack Redmond. Let's see what Luke can do in the middle sector. He's into the third sector now, so unfortunately we have missed the sector split there, but we will keep a close eye on Luke Davies. Gobadi, 44 flat in the middle sector. That is quite competitive here from the Ukrainian. He took pole in Montreal last weekend. He didn't let Legend Rosenberg get a hand over him in either session. It was pole to win theoretically from Avesta Gobadi. Can he do something similar in Albert Park? Round through the final corner. This one will be valid on the board. Here comes Avesta Gobadi. Oh, it's the front row of the grid. Can Luke Davies snatch it back off him? No, he cannot. Luke doesn't improve in the end. Avesta gets close to Lewis, but it's close, but no cigar. What can Leroy Vinchentel do? Could he maybe provide a shock here in Albert Park, rounding through the right-hander of Stewart and in towards Prost. All the corners named after legends here. Can a potential future legend of FVR manage to dislodge the Scotsman at the top of the order? Rounding through the final corner, big improvement there from Nathan Marriott, who goes up to 9th. Leroy Van Schendel will take the he will take the second row of the grid. Pushes Jack Redmond down to 5th. Wong Fee Anderson into the pit lane. Tim Denhire is done, as is Maurice Stumer, which means Lewis McWilliam is on pole for the Canadian Grand Prix. It is Lewis, Avesta, Luke, Leroy, then it is Jack, Kyle, Nathan, then it is Tim Denhire, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and Borbune, the two Alpines separated by 1,000 of a second. Then it is Nils Hartl, Maurice Stumer, Andrew Davis, then it is Julius Gassner and Adrian Tishy who round out the order. Unfortunately, folks, we are not going to get the full confirmed results. We've got to cut to commercial because we've no formation lap and there's no timer on our screen. So we'll be back for the Australian Grand Prix in a few moments' time. This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program.
Yep.
To Formula Virtual Racing. Unfortunately, for some reason, we've been booted out of the lobby. You may have noticed that our intro video lagged as well. I'm not really too sure what's happened there. So we're going to cut just for a break for a minute. We will be back in a couple of moments with the Australian Grand Prix. This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Albert Park. Do apologise for the quick, well, not really quick, but brief delay. The lobby decided to die, but we're all good now, and we can get ready for the Australian Grand Prix. Here at Albert Park, of course, it began hosting the Australian Grand Prix in 1996, taking over from Adelaide, which hosted the Grand Prix from 1985 to 1995. The 2022 attendance exceeded 400,000, and it was the best attended event in Melbourne since 1996. But we are here on the grid for the Australian Grand Prix. Brendan and Kyle, give me a quick prediction. Who's going to win this?
Definitely claiming Lewis over here. That was some incredible
apologies,
race
I have to jump over you because we go straight to the grid. 4, 5 red lights here in Melbourne. And we go racing here in Australia. It's a good initial start from one of the Alpha Tauris in the background here. Good start from Investigo Badi as well. Right tucked up into the slipstream of Lewis McWilliam. Luke Davies tries a lunge down the inside, and Luke Davies has gone round and hits the gravel. There's a front wing gone flying as well. The world champion is round and down. McLaren are 17th and 18th here in Albert Park. It's a horror start. Luke went for an audacious move up the inside, and now Enzo King trying push to pass on Thomas Main. Two of the older drivers here in Formula Virtual Racing, or should I say two of the ones who've been racing with us longest, as Leroy Van Schendel falls down the back of the field. He's down 11 positions now, side by side with Adrian Tishy. But race start here in Melbourne. It is Lewis McWilliam who got a steady getaway, 0.5 of a second over Investigo Badi. But Luke Davies is down to 18th position here in the first sector.
That was a chaotic start, to say the least. Van Schendel and Davies, who both qualified fairly high up the order, are now 16th, 18th. And Davies especially is in trouble. Van Schendel, at least, he is near enough to the pack so he can watch it. Although he's just let Borbune through. I think that was because he did try an audacious move up the inside of Borbune, which cost Borbune a bit of time. So, good sportsmanship there from Van Schendel. You can see Morris Jr. is keeping Adrian Tishy behind. So, a chaotic first lap here, and that's Van Schendel to the pits.
Well, a little bit up the field, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer has been having an absolute go throughout the last two sectors here on Tim Den Hire. He's finding it a trial 8 braking manoeuvre in towards turn number 3. Den Hire on the outside now tries to keep it long. Well done, Tim Den Hire. That's a great bit of defence here in the hard compound of tyres. Hung it round the outside of turn number 3, kept it on the inside in towards turn number 4, now heading through Whiteford of turn number 5. It is the hard tyres for Den Hire and Redmond, but Den Hire runs a bit wide, and that's Adrian Tishy out of the Grand Prix. And the virtual safety car comes out. Jurgensmeyer, just as he got ahead, that's unlucky for Tim Den Hire. McLaren, an absolute horror show here from the two-time defending Constructors champions. Luke down to 16th, Adrian out of the Grand Prix.
Yep, VSC, and that's so. If you want to describe 2 laps of horror for McLaren, this would probably be it.
Kyle, just over to you. Did you see what happened to Adrian at all?
Yep, I did. There was some massive contact with Adam. They were fighting quite harshly alongside with Tauber Drasha. I still don't remember his name. I'm sorry for that.
Julius.
Julius was fighting harshly with Andrew, and Mr. Adrian Taishi, I believe, was trying to take a peek, and he took a peek at the wall. Big hit though, so he's gonna be having to. Well, he's gonna be at least in the hospital because that was an insane hit. Also, something for you to notice. I heard you earlier say something about not being able to jinx Luke.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What happened there?
I did jinx Luke. Oh
Yeah,
no.
I think you did. Thank him for that. Safety car is in.
Safety car's in this lap. Thank you very much, Carl, for bringing up the fact that I may be responsible for Luke Davis' downfall. Look, it's an Instagram reel, if it's anything. But Lewis McWilliam is leading this race. He was outside of a second when the virtual safety car came out, but he's backward in it now. I think that could have just been something to do with the deltas, but it is 9/10 of a second between himself and Vestigo Badi, and this is looking like it could be fairly smooth sailing for Lewis McWilliam if he wishes to achieve his 23rd Grand Prix victory. Remember, Legend stole his record, or what was a tied record. Legend stole it. Lewis obviously clearly wants it back, and he wants to get one over his old compatriot. But further down the field, Kyle Albert putting the pressure on Jack Redmond. Jack, however, keep an eye on him because he's on the hard compound tires, and he's in 5th position. And that could be a very good result here in store for Jack Redmond around a circuit he very much likes. Thomas Main and Enzo King both on the soft compounded tyres. Enzo and Jack, let's say not best of friends after Canada last week. Not really too sure what happened between the pair of them, but they were having a go at each other in the post-race press conferences and stuff like that. Not really, it was a Discord server, but we like to bit of make-believe here or there. There's no one any harm. This could get feisty between these two.
Luke Davies posted fastest laps, so maybe he has a bit of speed here. But in a situation like this, how much is it really worth? Because you've got to get through so many cars, then the others pull away from you, and all of a sudden now you don't really have the tyres to score at that original pace. You see, Leroy now takes fastest lap for himself. He'll be hoping for a safety car here. He'll need one.
Here comes Jack Redmond, hangs around the outside of Lakeside Drive on Enzo King, and that's up to 4th place for the Alfa Romeo. Very nice job indeed. Den Heyer losing another spot to Nathan Marriott, and Wangfei Anderson losing one to Julius Gassner. Gassner was disqualified last week in Canada for picking up too many on-track penalties. He's running in the points here in Albert Park. What a week can do. Andrew Davis now piling on the pressure here on Wangfei Anderson. Is he going to try nick a wheel up the inside towards Stewart? No, gonna have to wait potentially for the first corner here. Wasn't able to dive at the hairpin either. The Aston Martin is just gonna sit behind the Williams and Wangfei Anderson. Thomas Main fastest lap of the race in the soft compounded tyres. So old teammates Thomas and Leroy trading purple laps left, right and centre here. Is Andrew Davis able to look up the inside? No. Further up the front, however, look what's happened here. Vestigo Badi closing in on Lewis McWilliam. Kyle, was there anything for Lewis, or does Avesta just have the better pace here?
Avesta looks to be having a lot more pace. Also, this whole group does actually. You can see some groups beginning to form. You usually go ahead, Brendan.
Apologies there. Just that Williams X9G making a move.
We have a car park. We have a car park heading through Whiteford of turn number 5. That is Andrew Davis out. That's Niels Hartl facing the wrong way, and Wangfei Anderson pulling his car out of the wall. Really don't know what happened there, but that's a free car collision between, well, the three cars, with one of them out of the race, and now the safety car is out.
That is unlucky. It's in the same spot as well. I was saying, I was talking about a group being formed, but the safety car is now formed a big group. You could see the groups being formed again, which is an interesting fact, because on tracks like these, you would not usually expect that. You may ask why that is. It's probably because of the long straights that have been introduced. Usually you would have more corners in Sector 2, which would prevent this from happening. But as you can see, gaps between the teams are beginning to form, and trains are too.
Thank you, Kyle. Safety car out here now.
Some pitters.
Oh, we have a few pitters, and Albert leads at Albert Park. Kyle opting not to pit. Lewis goes for the meet. Oh, Kyle will lead through. Kyle.
Oh, dear.
Oh, Kyle, drive through, speeding under the safety car. Lewis, however, goes for the mediums. Avesta for the mediums. Thomas goes for the hard compounded tyres. Could he bring those to the end? We'll wait and see. Then it's Jack on the mediums, Enzo King on the mediums. Wangfei stays out. Hold on, was Wangfei not one of the cars in that crash?
No.
No, he
I think he
definitely
was.
was.
Oh,
I saw Williams.
Yeah, and it
yeah,
wasn't.
but he might have just been the lucky escapee, probably.
Well, he stays out nonetheless. Timden higher in the mediums, as is Julius Gasner. Then Luke Davies can be brought back into play somewhat in this one. He's in 12th. He's looking to cut through the field. And then it's Borbune on the hard tyres. Then it's Stumer on the mediums, Nils on the mediums, Leroy on the hards. Hard tyres, can they make the end from here?
Well, I suppose it's better than putting yourself on mediums and forcing yourself to a two-stop. At least you have the option now. Yeah. But I have to say, hasn't been the best day to be an Arsenal fan in FVR, has it?
Yeah. Arsenal.
Yeah.
Bottomless. Seems fitting.
Yeah.
What can I say,
Do we have any
actually?
Villa fans here? Although I have to say I am quite invested in their form right now.
Yeah. Speaking of poor football teams, with Man United fan as the pit reporter, Kyle, thoughts on today?
I'm depressed. I'm honestly depressed.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even want to talk
actually,
about it.
Kyle is not a Man United fan. He's an Eric Ten Hag fan, which is arguably worse.
It is not worse. It is.
No, it is.
You know, when you see the philosophy of such a man and such confidence
He lost 4-0
in his
to
play,
Bournemouth.
It's 3-0. I'm gonna stop you right
I
there. No,
support
no,
Norwich.
no.
We beat Bournemouth 6-1 last season.
And where are you now?
Well,
exactly.
that should all jump down quickly.
That's
That's an
However,
irrelevant
no,
argument. It's an irrelevant
Now
argument.
listen to me.
Your brother actually liked a TikTok that I reposted the other day that says when you're arguing about football and the other person just says your team is in the championship. Your brother liked it. Take a lesson from your brother.
I would never take a lesson from him if he. Okay, just point one here. I'm gonna educate you in a little football while we have this safety car rolling for you. Okay?
Yeah, sorry guys, we have nothing to talk
playstyle-
about here. So football it is.
No, there isn't. And I mean, there's always something to talk about Erik ten Hag and his playstyle. He is amazing as a man. He has this great mentality. He just doesn't have the team for it. This team, it sucks. Blazers, worse. And then, what's your result? You play 3-0 against Bournemouth, which is a shame. Of course it's a shame, but I trust in the process, and I trust Erik ten Hag will be back. I would be making a bold statement also right now. Ronaldo deserved it. He can be playing all he wants in the sandbank. I'm done with him. That's all I'm saying for Manchester United, because I'm way too depressed today to talk about Manchester United.
Thank you very much,
Wait,
Kyle.
wait,
Thank you very much, Kyle. Kyle
Hang on.
providing the facts there. Kyle, of course, the 97th best driver in Formula Virtual Racing history. Thank you very much for your input there, Kyle. As the safety car will be in this lap. Kyle Albert will be getting to do the restart. Not actually his first ever safety car restart in here in Formula Virtual Racing. But he'll be pulling into the pit lane rather soon to serve that drive-through penalty. I wonder, will he serve it straight away, or will he carry on for a lap and maybe hope that they all just crash into each other behind? We'll have to wait and see. But it's a top three of Albert, Marriott and Jurgens Meyer, which is crazy. Crazy to think about. I wouldn't have thought that when we came into the paddock here this evening, but we will wait and see. Kyle Albert rounds us through Prost corner and then in towards the turn 14 right-hander. When is he going to go? Just backing everybody up, making sure those tyres are warm to correct temperature. The Haas lifts off. Going to allow Nathan to maybe overcommit. Kyle very slowly. We go racing. Oh, there's carnage in the background. Kyle has played it very, very late, and I think that's caught some other drivers out in towards the first chicane for the first time. Albert still leads. Then it's Nathan Marriott, Jonathan Jurgens-Meyer, Lewis McWilliam, right on the back of Jonathan Jurgens-Meyer here, potentially looking to get an overtake. Wongfi Anderson has gone spiralling down the grid for a brief moment. McWilliam, big dive up the inside of the American in towards turn number 3. Now the Ferrari tries to hang it around the outside. Lewis McWilliam gets the job done. Now trying to pile the pressure on Nathan Marriott here through Whitefoot and then in towards the turn 6 and 7 chicane. Here comes Lewis McWilliam, big lunge down the inside, threads the needle. The Scotsman right on the edge between class and catastrophe, as he always is. Lewis McWilliam makes the move up to second. Jurgens-Meyer gets the job done as well. Now slipstreaming the Scotsman down towards the left-hander. Here comes the Alpine. He pulls out of the slipstream, just doesn't have the straight line speed. Vestigobadi looking to make his way through. He tries it round the outside, tries the slingshot, gets the job done. Gobadi up to 4th.
Yeah, not bad from Gobadi, but he needs to clear Jurgens-Meyer immediately, or at least before McWilliam gets
Oh,
to clear
Redmond.
Albert.
Redmond and Nathan Marriott making contact. Marriott was on the inside, and Nathan has gone falling down the order here. There could be a bit of front wing damage, maybe, on that car. Not visually, but he certainly has the turning circle of a Massey Ferguson here, it seems. Lewis McWilliam leads the Grand Prix as Kyle Albert pulls into the pit lane. Brendan.
Moved on, but McWilliams almost pulled a second.
He has.
Gavadi's going to have to really push it now if he wants to stick with McWilliam.
Gavadi needs to get back within that DRS, and having slides mid-corner like that is not going to do him any favours. Kyle, did you catch anything interesting on the restart?
Yeah, I did. You were talking about the Williams of Nathan here. Yeah, he wasn't left any room there. That was a bit of malicious driving there. I don't remember who it was, but that was interesting to say the least. Oh, he's hit the wall.
Redmond.
He's completely lost it.
Redmond absolute hangs it round the outside of Jonathan Jurgens, Mayor, and somehow gets the job done. But did he glance the wall?
He's been a little wide.
He's a little bit wide, but he's absolutely on fire here. Ahead of Thomas Main, Redmond now going for the move on Avesta Gobadi. Jack would love to return to the podium here for the first time since Singapore many seasons ago. Maybe Albert Park is really Jack Redmond's school ground.
I think Playground would have really been the more natural one, but yeah.
Okay, Brendan, thank you.
Yeah.
Try not to overcut me every time, then we can talk. Luke Davies, gets on the inside of Jurgens Mayer. Luke Davies now up to 6th. Did we rule out Luke a little bit too early here? He's up to 6 now and on a good tar.
Please don't say anything. I'm just stepping in right now as a pit reporter. Please don't say anything about Luke again. Just don't jinx him.
Yeah, apologies, Luke.
Let's remain sterile about Luke. Just move back from it.
Gap up the front has not gone over a second just yet, mind you. So Avesta is keeping with Lewis relatively here, and he has actually dropped Jack Redmond. Redmond using the overtake button as Luke Davies is up past Enzo King. Luke up to 5th. Next in front is Thomas Main. Last time Luke and Thomas fought on circuit was when they were both brake checking a bunch of cars. That's Tim Denhire. That's the Haas who's gone round.
Not sure what. Anyone catch what happened there?
No, I think it was just
usually a weird,
it might have been
weird place to spin it.
Whoa!
Oh,
really big crash.
Really big incident. That is a Red Bull and Niels Hartl. That is Leroy Van Schendel and Niels Hartl. A huge incident there as the Ferrari is spewed all over the circuit and Leroy into the wall, missing 2 of his front wheels. Kyle, you seem to catch that.
Yep, I did catch that. That was, what was it? Nathan again. He had damage and they were going 3 wide until someone sideswiped someone else. I believe it was Leroy sideswiping the Ferrari into the left wall and just, it splattered all across. It looked like a massacre.
Yeah, apologies, folks, that I didn't catch that one on the stream. Look, 100,000 things to do. Unfortunately, my camera work is awful. But Leroy Van Schendel and Niels Hartl both out of the race. It's not really what Ferrari and Red Bull wanted.
Really isn't. And that while you were, I was actually being very glorious about the fact that the luck of Ferrari might change around with this driver swap. Well, it did in some ways. Lewis is in the lead, of course, but there was also someone in the 16th spot. And he's probably also in the hospital. It's going to be a busy day today for the nurses. And I believe it's Melbourne. Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle. Of course, this is sim racing, so they're not really going to hospital, but Formula Virtual Racing. The league that tries to make you feel like a racing driver, or something, is our slogan. I can't really remember it, but something along those lines. Lap 11 out of 29. We're not even halfway through the race here. Of course, we saw some people dive into the pit lane, but others actually weren't able to react quick enough. Would it be worth pitting here, Brendan, maybe? Putting a fresh set of rubber on and guaranteeing you go to the end?
I suppose it's a difficult choice because track position is key. Yes, you might like the certainty, maybe if you do plan around it, but one more safety car and then you're trying, and it's effectively you're wondering, why did I jump the gun? it's going to be very much personal opinion, and it might just depend on certain drivers. Maybe the ones who are quicker might take that gamble a little more. If you're maybe kind of somebody like Jack Redmond had who is quick, but he hasn't been around, let's say, quite a bit. You might just take your track position, keep it, and wait out what happens, because it's probably just a bit easier to do as you go along rather than trying to make a plan and predict what will happen.
Carl.
Yeah, these are the moments I would like to call coin toss moments. The moment where both of your decisions have major consequences. Pitting right now is, of course, gambling on a safety car. And, of course, when there is a safety car, yeah, you'll be, as Brandon said, jumping the gun and thinking, why did I pit? But there's also another factor here. If the race all of a sudden, which is usually the case of luck, some people call it, the case where all of a sudden there is no safety car, you will end up wondering why you didn't pit. And these are key moments in the decisions between those drivers. Right now, it's not brains, it's just pure luck dividing the strategy of the masterminds and those who aren't so lucky. And Borbjunis hit the wall on the safety car.
Oh, Borbjun.
Oh.
Is the damage for the Alp?
Don't think so.
Safe carrying this lap as well. That's disappointing for Borbjun if he does a damage, but I think he's got away scot-free. Lap 12 of 29. If you're enjoying the action here in Formula Virtual Racing, I would greatly appreciate if you could pop a subscription on the YouTube channel. As Nils Hartl saying in the stream chat, they go for moves that are never on. So Nils not happy and delegating the blame to the drivers he was battling with. But we will wait and see after the race if the stewards maybe have a word to say about it. But Lewis McWilliam is going to be the man who will conduct this safety car restart. He had to cut through the field on the last one, getting through those who had not pit yet. Now he has to manage this one from the front, and he has a Vestago Bardi behind him, looking to take this race win. Heading for the final corner, we go racing. Great restart from McWilliam, but does not necessarily catch out of Vestago Bardi, but he's not put himself under any pressure. Luke Davies right in the back of Thomas Main. He's going to go for this one in towards the first corner. These two have had their incidents in the past, and Thomas Main just about leaving enough space there. He was not going to be nice to Luke. These guys will not play nicely. Look at this. Look at Julius Gassner trying to get the job done on Luke Davies. Julius has really had a good race compared to last week. And up the front, however, 0.4 of a second separates Lewis and Avesta. Avesta, you know, has quite good pace here in Albert Park.
Yeah, it's Avesta. He struggled in qualifying to get a lap in. Eventually, it did get in P2, but the fact it took him multiple goals to get it probably speaks how he might just struggle to hook it up here. But at least this time, he doesn't have to try fight through cars and then be a second off Lewis McWilliam and just trying to keep it in DRS. But now it's equal footing. There is nowhere to hide.
Yeah, and also this puts Jack Redmond back within 1 second because he was kind of falling out, it seemed. At the end of the last stint before the safety car, he was kind of falling out of the DRS window, but he's well within it now, 7/10, although he's got to keep within it here, 0.8 of a second now separating. He does seem to be struggling a little bit pace-wise, as that's one of the Red Bulls going for a move here on Tim Den Hire. That's Enzo King, who's going to get the job done, heading in towards turn number 1. The Red Bull, one out of the race, now the other up to 7th place, but runs a little bit wide, and that forces Tim to have to slow down, and that forces Jonathan Jurgensmeyer to get the run here on Tim Den Hire, looking for the job. He's going to go for the inside, no. Could not quite conduct the lunge Daniel Ricciardo-esque down the inside, and he will be remaining in 9th for the time being. 0.3 now separates Vestago Bardi and Lewis McWilliam. We are almost at the halfway point here in this Grand Prix, so these guys still have a lot at stake. If Avesta could take 2 wins on the bounce, just like Legion Rosenberg did in the opening 2 rounds of the season, that would be quite impressive, and it would put him back in a very good place in the championship, considering Legion is not here this evening. Vestago Bardi, of course, currently sits 3rd in the drivers' standings. I don't think we've actually shown this graphic here today, but there we go. Avesta currently sits 3rd in the drivers' standings on 38 points. It is Legend, and it is Tyler, Avesta, Luke, and Kandolga who's not here this evening, so unfortunately Luke will be dropping down that order. A couple of slow cars here. Yellow flag in Sector 3. Oh, no. It's another incident. It's Kyle Albert who's out of the race, and now we have another safety car. Kyle is out, and Jack Redmond dives into the pit lane here rather quickly.
I'm not sure how the insurance is going to work if you crash at your own place. Yeah. I have to say, Redmond, that's an interesting call to pit there. But it could be a very, very good call if things fall the way he wants them to.
On that incident, Kyle Albert, we go to another Kyle. Kyle Davis, you caught that one again.
Yep, I did. I was actually on board with Kyle Albert, watching as I saw the battle unfold between a few cars ahead of them. The Williams of Wongfi spun around. Kyle, no chance to avoid it. Hit him straight on, T-boned him actually. And you would say immediate DNF, which I immediately thought what was going to happen. But no, his wing fell off. Right after, however, the Williams of Wongfi smoothed back a bit. I don't know how. Game physics of Codemasters weren't that great, and he hit the wall at maybe 2 kph and suddenly lost his tire 3 seconds later. Unfortunate crash, and thank you Codemasters for that one.
Yeah, so Codemasters being those at fault, if you're just tuning in, firstly welcome to Formula Virtual Racing, and we do hope you're enjoying the action if you have been with us since the start of the evening. It's the Australian Grand Prix. It's a pleasure to have you alongside us. Lap 15 out of 29. The top three, Lewis McWilliam, Avesta Gobadi, and Enzo King. How good would it be to have Enzo back in the podium? And also, Brendan, what a good race this is for Julius Gassner.
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, P4 is not a bad return at all. Only stopped once, along with Jorgensmeyer, Gobadi, and McWilliam. Everyone else has technically stopped twice. I think Enzo, you might be a little out of sync in comparison compared to maybe the other two stops, himself and Madsen.
He is on the best tyres though. The top 5.
Yeah, 5 laps. That's not bad at all. And then you're looking at Thomas Main on the soft tyres. He is going to be one to jump up and make up places very, very quickly. But Redmond will be looking to do the same. And then it could be a case that Redmond and Main, they can't afford to fight each other. Because otherwise, the likes of McWilliam, Gobadi, and, well, also Enzo can just pull away, and just by the time Redmond and Main catch up, one of them will have tyres that had the best kicked out and they're okay, but they could have been used for better. And then the other tyres are going to be very much crying out for help.
Yeah, those who have pit, it's Jack Redmond, Thomas Main, Luke Davies, Tim Denhire, Wongfi Anderson, and Bor Bune all made their way into the pit lane under this safety car. We should be restarting this lap, as I imagine the lights will go out. I'm brilliant. Safety car is in this lap. Lap 16 out of 29, going on to lap 17 out of 29. Lewis McWilliam will get to conduct the safety car and restart once again, and it'll be Avesta Gobadi who is the chasing car once again. But there's a large field shuffle here. It's medium tyres for Lewis, Avesta, Enzo, and Julius. It's hards for Jorgensmeyer, Nathan Marriott. And then mediums for everyone else and softs for Thomas Main. In terms of biggest gainers here, it is Julius Gassner who's your biggest gainer, 13 to 4th. No penalties actually, apart from the drive-through we got for Kyle Albert, but no other penalties across the field. And we're over halfway through the race. That's rather impressive for an FVR endeavour. But here we go then, heading for the final corner. Once again, Lewis McWilliam is going to get us restarted and we go racing. Once again, that's a great race start for Julius Gassner. He almost got the jump on Enzo King, but it seemed like he had to just lift it to catch a slide in the car mid-corner, down towards the first corner. However, Avesta Gobadi still tucked in right behind Lewis McWilliam. Enzo King tucked in right behind. Spoke too soon on the penalty count. It's Gassner who picks up a 3 seconds. His old bad habits come back to haunt him. Here comes Thomas Main looking for the outside on Jack Redmond. Brendan, of course, said these two can't can't afford to trip over each other. Thomas not necessarily listening to his advice because he's going to try a lunge down the inside and towards turn number 4. Thomas Main with a brilliant move gets the job done on Jack Redmond here in towards Whiteford corner. That is an exceptional move from the Belgian driver. He's now up to 8th, chasing Marriott. Oh, not just chasing Marriott, got to pass Marriott here. He's on the battery button and he is going to try and lunge past down Lakeside Drive to the outside. Has a bit of slipstream from his teammates, or I should say his teammate for today, Maurice Stumer, and Thomas Main is up to 7th place here in the Australian Grand Prix. Oh, car gone wide. Who's that run wide? Oh no, it's Julius Gassner. We spoke too soon. He goes round, heading through turn number 9 and 10. Julius Gassner is round and down. And the high of this race is now so low. Luke Davies gets past Marriott as well for 8th.
Yeah, Redmond and Davies through. So now, next up for Main is his teammate. And he'll be hoping there's not too much of a fight here. And it seems like he should be able to get this move done before the braking zone.
Yeah, Morris not even on the battery.
Yeah, and you see there, Morris Stumer not even fighting it. Redmond he wants to get past soon enough because every corner he falls behind is a corner that Main is gaining time. Although, if he is caught up behind others here, it might not be too detrimental just yet.
And what Jack is also hoping for, I would imagine, is that Thomas just rips these softs to shreds by pushing through the field here. But this is the old Thomas Main that we've not experienced maybe for a while. The hungry Thomas Main, who wants to win here in Formula Virtual Racing, hangs it round the outside of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Main's up to 4th and is now gaining on the lead pack. He needs to find 0.3 of a second to get the benefits of DRS. Otherwise, he's going to be slipstreamed into every corner at the end of every straight. And you can see already a bit of a train developing behind. Here comes Jack Redmond looking for this one on Maurice Stumer down towards the right-hander of Ascari. Here comes Redmond. He was involved in an incident here with Marriott earlier on this evening. He gets the job done, and Luke Davies, very opportunistic, sneaks it up the inside of the AlphaTauri as well. Well executed move from the world champion to get the job done. Kyle, have you spotted anything?
Yes, I've noticed a way of steering from Thomas Main. He's steering really aggressive, and that's something you might want to watch out for, because those softs, they will last, but they will also drop off. Same thing for the guys ahead. They are obviously experiencing the tire drop off.
Oh, Avesta.
Avesta, yeah, well, that's tire drop off, I think. Got a penalty. Thomas Main, though, he needs to watch out with the steering. If you look closely, you can see him steering quite aggressively in the fast corners, which is a tire-consuming way of racing. So definitely gonna have to watch out.
Yeah, Redmond's got the job done by the way.
Yes, that's Jack Redmond up into 5th place.
Yeah, and you see Main now, he's on the back of Enzo King. He's got the move done, it seems.
Now look at this. Here comes Avesta Gobadi for the race lead. This is the first time that Lewis McWilliam has not really led this battle between himself and Avesta Gobadi. Maybe Avesta sees Thomas as a bit of a threat, because now the AlphaTauri is right on the back of the Scuderia Ferrari of Lewis McWilliam. Lewis is going for Ferrari's first podium this season, their first point scoring race since the opener in Brazil. We'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. Thomas Main, look at this, threading the needle right on the back of the Scuderia Ferrari. As Avesta runs wide. Avesta into the pit lane here in Albert Park. Avesta with a weird strategy. Thomas Main, however, is gunning for this one. Wants to take the race lead off Lewis McWilliam. Avesta ran completely wide. I'm not sure if he was forced into the pit lane there or not. But now he's in, goes for a set of softs, going to go to the end of this one. Obviously feels that tyres are dropping off too much, as Kyle said earlier.
Yeah, these tires are definitely dropping off. Same for Lewis. He's going to have struggles even more, and he might actually have a risk of a puncture at the end. It's going to be really tight for those guys, so I think it's a great call by Avesta to not risk it that much and just leave it and take his loss and then try again right now, instead of not giving yourself that chance at all.
Maurice Stumer with a huge tank slapper heading through the middle. Oh my goodness me, he's had another one. Stumer is driving a shopping trolley at this point in time, as the two Williamses both managed to get past him due to that. Williams 9th and 10th here, good result for them for the time being. Thomas Main is going for this one. He is within a 10th and a half here of Lewis McWilliam. Not necessarily burning his battery. Lewis actually has a lot more in that regard, so he's not going to get it done this time round. But Jack Redmond and Luke Davies are right behind as well. You got to feel that maybe Lewis is not the favourite for this win, Brendan.
Yeah, his tyres, the age of them goes against him. And then like Thomas is on a softer compound, which might help Lewis later on, but right now it will cause him trouble. And you see Main, he's pushing the ERS. Is he going to try hanging around the outside?
Here comes Thomas Main. No, wasn't able to get it done. But
No.
now he's gone for the up and under. He's gone for the switchback manoeuvre. Is he able to tuck into the slipstream? Burning the battery here. He's going to have to go for the outside on Lewis McWilliam in towards turn number 3. Look at this late braking manoeuvre from Thomas Main. He's going to keep the car in here for turn number 4. This is how he got the job done on Jack Redmond. This is how he gets the job done on Lewis McWilliam. Thomas Main leads the Australian Grand Prix on lap 21 after making an extra pit stop. The Belgian is in form like he's never been here in FVR.
Well, this would be some victory for him. If he's able to hold on to this, are them soft tyres going to do it? Kyle did say they would last, but will they last with enough grip is the question we're trying to answer. Have to see now. Redmond went a bit wide. He's dipped the wheel in the gravel. So, maybe not. Oh, and you see Enzo down the inside. Oh, he's jumped the curb.
Yeah, Enzo with a bit of a weird manoeuvre there, and that's allowed or almost opened the door for Luke Davies. I think that was a very aggressive move from Enzo. I think maybe that one was a little bit personal, as you can see the American pushing Luke through the corner, because here comes Tim Den Hire. This is crazy. This is crazy battling in the middle pack. Here comes Luke Davies looking for this one on Enzo King. Enzo's tyre starting to fall off. Bit of rubbing and racing here, and Enzo gets sent off in towards the first corner and across the gravel. Goes Enzo King into the wall, comes back up. Oh, Enzo! Oh my goodness me, Enzo King has completely lost his mind here in Albert Park. Cuts across the track, 5-second penalty, hits Borbune. A crazy moment there for Enzo King. Tim Den Hire and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer still side by side. There could be some big stewards implications there for Enzo King. That was a stupidly reckless rejoin. I'm not going to say a stupid move. It was a stupidly reckless rejoin.
Yeah, it was. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. He should have just slowed it down and kept it cool, but I think he was just annoyed, probably in his mind, probably thinking why he had to get sent off to the gravel while he was in a decent position.
Well, it was his own fault. He was wheel banging with Luke Davies. There's Lewis McWilliam. Big lunge down the inside in towards Ascari. McWilliam still leads this Grand Prix. That incident with Enzo may have cost Luke and Jack a shot at this race win, because Lewis and Thomas's tyres are both certainly in the gradual rise up to that cliff. And I think if Luke and Jack were within DRS here, they maybe could have had a go, as Thomas Main now goes for the outside on Lewis McWilliam. Thomas breaks earlier. Thomas, for the first time in his FVR career, wins the DRS game. As he's actually, when he lifts off and breaks early, he's actually got it this time. He lost it in Las Vegas. He certainly lost it in Bahrain. He actually wins it this time round.
Third time lucky, so they say. And that's Jonathan Jurgensmeyer losing multiple places.
Yeah, you're
along with his penalty. Yeah, and look at all this. Bobardi's nearly on the back of this lot.
Yeah, that was a brilliant strategy from Vescobadi. Over to Kyle Davis, who's got something to tell us.
Yes, I was talking about the strategy of Avesta, of course. He's already at the back because of the battling. That's a simple answer on that one. Another thing to note, though, the rising cliff that they were climbing up has been reached. Weird thing to say, though, is that the current expecting battle that I'm expecting, or at least I'm predicting, is Lightning Luke against Thomas Main. After Thomas Main gets back on Lewis, I think what's going to happen here is that Thomas Main will pass Lewis again, because Lewis's tires will drop off harshly now, followed by Luke, who will actually pass these two, because it's way easier on less older mediums. I think Luke's got the best chance.
As here comes Thomas Main going for the race lead. On the outside, we saw there Jack Redmond lose a spot to Tim Den Hire. Here comes Thomas Main, though, goes to the outside of Lewis McWilliam. These two still scrapping fierce at the front of the field, because they do see Luke Davies challenging. Avesta picks up another 3-second time penalty. That's going to hamper his chances at a good result here in Albert Park greatly, as there's a yellow flag there. Oh, that's Nathan Marriott who's gone around. Very unfortunate there for Nathan, who does hit the wall. Lap 24 of 29. Luke is charging in slowly on Lewis and Thomas. Would this beat Luke's Monaco win if he was able to win this one from the position he was in on lap 1, Brendan?
It would certainly be up there, I must
VSC.
say. Oh, well, that'll give opportunity for things to cool down, but this restart's going to be so important. Davies has a chance to try gain a bit of time here if he plays his cards right, but if you play too aggressive, it'll cost him. So, what do you do? Do you try push the needle here, or do you maybe hold back a bit?
I think if you're in Luke, you're in a really good position here. Just don't get a penalty. I think that's got to be rule number one for the top three. Just don't get a penalty, as that little flash is usually an indication that we're going to be going racing soon. Because honestly, it'd be heartbreaking if either of these three picked up a drive-through penalty, because this could be a brilliant finish to what's already been a thoroughly exciting Australian Grand Prix. If you're enjoying the action here in Formula Virtual Racing, remember, we do this sort of thing every week. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, as DRS is enabled. Enzo King is going to go on lap down. Oh no, apologies, that's Julius Gassner is going to go on lap down here. No penalties across the field, quite crucially. And Luke didn't really gain time, but he didn't lose it either, which is rather crucial. Lap 25 out of 29, Thomas Main and Lewis McWilliams' tyres might be feeling a little bit shocked now, as Jack Redmond here is scrapping with Bourbion. Avesta Gobadi has got the pair of them. Avesta charging through the field here. Jack, though, is not making these medium tyres work as well as, say, Lucas.
Yeah, I think Jack might have been a little more of a victim to the chaos that occurred with him, Luke, Enzo, and that group of cars. So he'll be kicking himself there, thinking he could be the one up there with Luke, Thomas, Lewis. So now Luke, he's nearly in that DRS. He just needs to push it these next couple of corners, because that can really hook him in for the next 2 or 3 laps, and that's going to make all the difference.
Jack here is defending like his life depends on it. Poor Bourbion cannot get by. Oh, now he can, as Jack Redmond runs wide. But poor Bourbion has got past, and has Wong Fee Anderson and Jonathan Jurgens-Meyer. Jack Redmond is going to be kicking himself here, because he was really hoping for a good result. Here comes Thomas Main, looking to get the job done on Lewis McWilliam. Lewis is getting DRS from lapped traffic, as Thomas Main takes the race lead, gives Lewis a little bit of a shoulder, heading through turn number 1, and he's got the job done here in Albert Park. Lewis is down to second, and under pressure from his Season 9 and Season 10 rival, Lightning Luke Davies. Oh, this could be interesting. Kyle, have you got anything for us?
No, but I do want to say that I don't want to gloat on myself, but that prediction of me was incredible. It was exactly right, and I still think Luke's gonna win this. Why? The cliff and the drop-off of Thomas Main and Lewis McWilliam has been reached. Those tires are absolutely shot. Those of Luke, they aren't. I think Luke's gonna win this one. Surely if they battle like this. Oh,
McWilliams back through.
He gets the job done, and I gotta say, there's no conservation here. There's no waiting for that last lap. These are both going for this one. Lewis McWilliam leads the Australian Grand Prix ahead of Thomas Main as Luke. Oh, Luke, don't do something like that. Went for a huge lunge down the inside. I think he just misjudged his opportunity. Thankfully, still within DRS here. That could have been a huge blunder if Luke took Thomas Main out of contention. And himself out of contention. More importantly, Lewis, huge slide heading through the final corner. That is an indication his rear tyres are absolutely buggered at this point in the Grand Prix. Thomas Main goes for the outside in towards turn number 1. He got the race lead on the inside the last time round. Has he got it on the outside this time? He has. Main leads once again here in Albert Park. Is this where Luke Davies decides to introduce himself to the fight here? Now going for the outside in towards turn number 3. He has almost looked for the inside there. He was trying a move that his good friend Tyler might have thought him, but Lewis defends heavily. Luke was not going to get that move in a month of Sundays.
Yeah, that was really good defending by McWilliam there. Hard but fair. He squeezed the space, made sure Luke didn't get any ideas to try and get into that space.
Thomas 9/10 in front. He's gone up the road here. This is a move that needs to be made imminently by Luke Davies. Nathan Marriott sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Oh, Lewis McWilliam into the wall. High-speed collision for the Scuderia Ferrari. The win on return is gone for Lewis McWilliam. He has front wing damage and needs to nurse this car home to the end. Is there more dramatic fairy tale ending than Luke Davies versus Thomas Main for the race win here in Albert Park?
Oh my. I really hope these two don't play the DRS games in Bahrain.
They were penalised heavily for it. That should be a little inkling in the back of the mind of don't do it again, but we will wait and see.
Gobadi could nearly catch this lot but then again, these tyres probably have being used too much. Oh, well, that's all the hallmarks of retirement from McWilliam. If he's in 5 seconds.
Very unfortunate for him.
Could still get fastest lap.
So Enzo.
Oh.
Enzo spun round. I was going to say behave, because if he was trying to be an annoyance on purpose for Luke Davies, he would have been penalised heavily for it, but he spun himself anyway, so we don't really have to worry about that. Penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Battery is in favour of Luke Davies. Thomas obviously feels he can defend this one from the front, so he's trying to get as much of a buffer as he can. Luke's got to be careful here not to fall out of DRS. That would be catastrophic if he did do that. Thomas Main has not won a Formula Virtual race since Season 7. It is Season 11, round number 4, and Thomas Main is back in the driving seat to potentially win a Grand Prix. But he's got, I think it's safe to say, his arch nemesis behind him from the last few seasons. The man he fought with at the start of Season 10 for a championship, and the man who has beaten them time and time again. Is it now finally time for Thomas Main to get a number over on Luke Davies here in FVR Season 11? We start the final lap of the Australian Grand Prix. 0.4 of a second is the gap between the Belgian and the Briton. Jack Redmond picks up a 3-second time penalty, which makes his race go from bad to worse. At this point, Enzo speeds in the pit lane. That's going to be him done potentially. Luke sits behind into turn 3. Thomas Main runs a little bit wide. Luke almost inviting himself up the inside here. Here they go again. Here's the DRS games again from Luke and Thomas. They've not learned a thing, but they're still going to go for this one. Come to Lakeside Drive. Thomas leads as Thomas now braking slowly, heading onto the back straight. And look at this, Avesta Gobadi is gaining and gaining. Luke and Thomas are at their DRS antics once again here in Formula Virtual Racing. Luke wins it for a 3rd consecutive time and now is going for the race lead. Luke Davies was 17th on the opening lap of proceedings. He was spun round into the first corner. He now leads on the run down to Ascari, but Thomas Main is behind. Is still going for this one in towards Ascari, and now Thomas brakes as late as humanly possible, heading in towards the final sector. Luke Davies has not won a race this season. He is the defending champion. We said he was in a new situation to try learn how to defend it. Round to the final corner, and to win the Australian Grand Prix, Avesta Gobadi, Thomas and Avesta crash across the line, but Luke Davies wins the Australian Grand Prix here and a first win of Season 11.
Tim Den Higher is on the podium.
Wow, holy guacamole, as you'd say. What a result for Tim Den Higher in 3rd.
Hey, fair play to him. Now you see McWilliam was cross line. Did he get fastest lap there? Because I think surely he would have. Yeah, he has.
Apologies if my mic was cutting out there, by the way, folks. It's just one of many issues we have here from the virtual racing. Lewis McWilliam takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but wow, what an ending.
Yeah, I'd have to say, Avesta Gobadi, that was a brilliant, brilliant call.
That was a really good call. Without the penalties, he could have got 2nd. Maybe even the win.
Yeah, you have to wonder if he didn't have the penalties and then maybe hit a lap or 2 earlier. Who knows?
Kyle.
It'd be extremely frustrating, but yeah, even then.
Kyle, was there something we missed there? How has Tim Den Higher ended up in P3?
I don't know myself. I'm going to be very honest. I was really glued to this amazing battle for P1 and P2 there. I called it out perfectly, which is at least a victory, at least one victory this day, which I so dearly needed. But no, I don't know what happened to Tim Den Higher. Amazing drive by him, though, because he definitely wasn't close to the podium for the race. And in the end, he still made it.
Well, McLaren have a win for the first time this season. That'll give Luke and Adrian a boost in the Constructors' standings. Also, remember I said there was no such thing as jinxing Luke?
I take my words back. But I might have unjinxed him, though. Let's be real here. It might have been my luck being transferred to him today.
Well, also another thing is, Luke, of course, was involved in the incidents with Lewis and Enzo.
Yeah, so he's...
we'll have to wait and see. But It is Luke Davies who takes the race win ahead of Thomas Main and Tim Den Heyer in third. And it's Avesta Gobadi, Borbune, Wong Fee Anderson, Morris Stumer, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Lewis McWilliam, Jack Redmond, Nathan Marriott. Then it is Julius Gassner. And then your non-finishers were Enzo King, Kyle Albert, Leo Van Schendel, Neil Title, Andrew Davis, and Adrian Tishy. Right, let's see, can we hear from the podium? Luke usually obliges with interviews. Let's see, can we get Thomas in as well? We will try and see. But lads, what's your thoughts on that Australian Grand Prix?
Amazing. Honestly, amazing. That was really hectic but fun race in the end. I thought it was going to be a bit boring, but in the end, I really, the moment I started to realize the battle that was unfolding with the strategies as well, it's always interesting for me to see those different strategies. But yeah, it was a really interesting race. Avesta Gobadi as well, you have to give credit where credit's due. Amazing strategy. I believe I did say something about it earlier, but that call to cut your losses and give yourself another chance has clearly worked out, because if those DRS games were played longer, or if there was a battle, or if Vesta had pitted earlier, like one lap earlier, he would have gotten the win. Do we have to say, though, without the penalty. Amazing race after all, though.
Let's hear from Luke and Tim now. Hello, Luke. Can you hear us? Hello, Luke. You're on mute. Hello, Luke. Mr. Raceman.
You're still on mute, I think.
Yeah, Luke and Tim. You're both on mute. Tim isn't. Tim, can you hear us?
Yes.
Holy guacamole. It's a second Formula Virtual Racing podium for you, Tim Den Heyer. We didn't really see where it came from, but talk us through that one, because that was a magnificent race from you, sir.
Yeah, honestly, I still have no idea how I've done that, but I've talked with Jack and Luke before the race regarding strategy, and it has exactly come out how we expected it to be. So, yeah, starting on hards, we knew it was going to be a gamble at the beginning with the first safety car, trying to go for medium, and work my way up the field. Unfortunately, Jack got damage after contact, and but because of him, I got a big gap to the cars behind. Avesta was pushing through. Unlucky for him, the 6 seconds. Otherwise, he would be here. So yeah, basically that was my whole race.
That gives you a great footing to keep improving on this season at 25 points. Or not 25 points, apologies. The points for the podium. Some people have been saying that you're being carried by Legend, but now with those good points, that puts Haas even further up in the championship. Can you build upon this and keep extending a Constructors' Championship lead?
Well, yeah, hopefully Legend will be healthy soon and continue dominating the rest of the season. Then go back to being back in the field, like just relaxing. But yeah, I hope to get more points for races like this, and hopefully get a title.
Lads, any questions for Tim?
Tim, did you expect that podium at all? Because I didn't really see you throughout the race. Where were you? What did you expect to end up so high, or what were your expectations?
After the last safety car, I was calculating okay, Lewis probably still need to pit, or we'll get a puncture. Or get spawned or get a puncture. Same was for Thomas, and I was calculating. Okay, I'm third, fourth if I pass everyone with the other strategy. So yeah, I was kind of expecting good points, but not a podium until the last few laps.
Right, well, congratulations with the podium. And as we would say in Dutch, dat was geen koekje, dat was geen makkelijk koekje, maar je hebt hem toch opgegeten. So congratulations.
We have Dutch viewers. I hope you didn't say something that can't be straight.
No, I didn't say
Oh.
something. No, I didn't get us cancelled yet.
Yet, oh god. Tim,
oh no.
thank you very much. Appreciate that, Tim. Luke is having a few issues, so we'll be going to the second place man, Thomas. Thomas, you are on mute, but if you can't hear me, it was great to have aggressive Thomas Main going for a race win once again today. Did you feel that today could have been the day you won a race?
This is the day I'm gonna win the race, I think.
Ooh.
But I mean, I just saw from behind what Luke did to Lewis, but yeah, it was kind of annoying that Lewis was running that I don't know, rocket ship wings. Really fucked me over. I think out of the
Thomas.
three of us, out of the three of us at the end, I think I was the quickest. But yeah, it's just that with the DRS, and then of course it's Luke and me, and the only thing we do are DRS games. So, and I will always lose them because it's always behind. He's never in front, and if he's in front, then yeah, we have Bahrain. So it was yeah, pretty sad. But,
Yeah,
Fine.
about those DRS games, we saw them again today. Thankfully, a lot safer this time. What goes on there? Because it always seems to be you and Luke. Was it you that started them today? Was it Luke that was staying behind on purpose? So just explain to us what happens.
So I mean, I now drive like with no engineer. I don't know what Luke's ERS levels are on. I was gambling at high ERS, so I thought my only chance to win today was with ERS games. So yeah, that's what I did. Because the gap was 6/10, and that straight is so powerful. I don't know what is there. It's like the wind is different or something on that straight. So yeah, I mean, you have to have a pretty big gap to stay in front. So I thought that was my only chance to keep the car in front, and sadly, it failed again. So.
And you said at the start of this interview you will win this race. Why?
I mean, we saw Luke's incident, I think, with Lewis, which saw Lewis going to the wall. So I'm assuming, or I hope he might get a penalty for that, which is just an assumption I make, and just a tiny hope to finally get a win again, because the amount of second places is crazy at this rate. So.
Well, obviously you are a reserve driver for the minute, but if you were to become a main driver, you've got quite a healthy points tally. You are before this race, you were technically fifth in the championship. If you did get a main seat, if that's what you wish, do you think maybe we could see a little bit of a championship charge?
I don't know. Maybe if Legend is sick all the time, and
Yeah, good point. That.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, for me, I'm not doing this game too seriously anymore. Like today, FVR, I just got some dinner, was practicing during qualifying, joined the 2 laps, and just do the race. Like, when I was actually trying to win a title, the practice was all week long. I was just a big sweat. And at the moment, it's quite fun. Like, there's no expectation before the race to, like, do anything. And it seems that without expectations, it's going a lot better, so... Yeah. So I don't know.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I was wondering, did you notice the way Avesta was catching up to you guys with the DRS games like a freight train? At what point do you guys think like I should stop doing the DRS games and I should move on? Like, did you notice the at the pace that was headed for you, or
Yeah,
were you just fully focused on ahead?
Yeah, I mean, at lap 26, I noticed Avesta suddenly only like 6 seconds behind. I was like, how is that possible? The guy just boxed a few laps ago.
Yeah.
So of course the last lap, but I also saw that Avesta had a 6-second time balance. So I mean, and at the moment when I was doing the games, I didn't even look at the gap anymore. The only thing I cared about was beating Luke. So no, I was not really looking at Avesta at that point in time. But yeah, I was surprised when I went on the final straight and I just had Avesta behind me. So yeah, it was crazy.
I can imagine, but still, congratulations on the P2.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas. Luke, is it working now? I'm going to take that as a no. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to hear from Luke. I'm sure he... Oh, hold on, Luke, can you hear us? No. It's not working for Luke, unfortunately. We will hear from Luke another time, but Luke Davies is your race winner until after the stewards. But yeah, that is all we do have time for here in Albert Park. It was not a day for Kyle Albert, but it was a day for Luke Davies and Thomas Main to get back to their usual battling ways and get back to battling for Formula Virtual Racing victory. Big thanks to Kyle and Brendan for joining me here, of course, and thank you very much to you at home for watching. Next week, we will be back 8 p.m. I'm trying to remember what race it was, but I can't. Oh, it's the Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, we'll be back next week for the Monaco Grand Prix. Make sure you come back to us as we finish off a street track triple header in towards the Christmas break. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Bye-bye. This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program.